Hey everybody, this is Derek for the Grumpy Guy Show, talking about episode number 108. He's got one ear. Recorded on Tuesday, September 12th, 2023. Tonight's topics: send the reporters, phone surprises, and damage control. Stick around, we go right back to the old grumpy ways tonight. Good evening everybody, welcome to the Grumpy Guy Show. I'm Derek McAllister.
I'm Ryan McAllister.
So we got some decent topics this week, see what happens. I'm not going to say it's going to be long, I'm not going to say it's going to be short. Depends on how the conversation goes, Who knows?
Yep.
Maybe it'll be long. So let's jump right into it.
Alright, where are we starting with?
So the first topic, sorry, just marking down that as the first one.
Mm-hmm.
So the news, they're always talking about, all the green things that companies are doing, and especially how much the government is pushing everybody to be green. And of course,
yep.
My whole thing is I've stated over and over again that the greenest thing that we can do is not drive into the office or something like that. So.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, so it makes a lot of sense. Especially if you really truly do want to be a green company, or you want to reduce your carbon footprint, as the kids say. But the reason this came up is because the news.
Mm-hmm.
They were talking about, so last week, I think it was Thursday, Bruce Springsteen was supposed to have a concert at the Dome. And no, folks, it's not the Carrier Dome anymore. It's the JMA Wireless Dome. Because, everybody has to get money for their stupid crap like that. Mm-hmm. Like the school doesn't make enough money, but that's another story. So he was supposed to have a concert at the Dome, and it was canceled. So the brilliant news station, the local station, that whole "the" thing is annoying as well, but
we've gone over that.
Yeah. But so they were talking about the fact that he canceled his show, and medical reasons. I mean, the guy's, I don't even know how old he is. He's got to be over 70 now. I don't know, but so he canceled his show for medical reasons, and they're out there talking about it, but they're not talking about it in the newsroom. They have to go and stand in front of the Dome to talk about this, and I'm like, what the hell is the point? All right, so he's 73, so, health problems are going to happen. He's, as far as I know, he's not Keith Richards. He hasn't been doing tons and tons of drugs and stuff like that, so, he's not preserved.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But the thing that gets me is they felt they had to go out to the Dome to talk about this. I'm like, your reporter could have done that without going and wasting all of the gas, driving to stand in front of the stupid Dome. Nobody's there. It's not like they were talking to him or some representatives of his. Nobody's there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like,
that's a waste of gas.
Point? Yeah. And then right after that, what do? Well, they go to another story. I don't remember what the next story was about because I was too busy making a note. But they go to the next story, and it's another reporter standing someplace that has absolutely nothing to, it has no relevance to the story. I mean, yes, I think it was, something at City Hall or whatever. But by the time he was on there for this live report, because it was live, it wasn't pre-recorded. By the time he was on there, City Hall had been closed for several hours. And, whatever he was covering was done hours before that. So,
Why
they had him... Yeah, exactly. And that's the point, We talk about being green, yet we seem to think we have to have these reporters go out to to these locations and, it's really important. They're not doing any kind of research. Like they talk about the hurricane trackers. They're flying planes through the hurricanes. They're doing research. They're trying to get more information so we better understand, so that we can save people's lives. These reporters, they're going out there just because, we got to make it look like we're important or something, or like we really care.
Yep. Because we're the local station.
Yeah, and then half the time, what are they doing? They're just waiting because the feed is delayed, so they don't know that the newscasters in the studio have sent it over to them. So they're just standing there shaking their head, which we've talked about before. And I'm just like, come on. Can't we move past doing this stupid stuff? In this case, they could have they could have had the same exact effect by putting him in front of a green screen and having a stupid picture on the background.
Exactly.
90% of people wouldn't have known the difference. Other than the fact that there's not a car beeping.
Or driving past.
And there's not idiots going, oh, look at me, I'm on TV. Oh.
Yep.
So it's like, come on, people. I don't know. I guess they got to justify the 1,000 ads in a freaking half an hour show anyhow, but it just gets really
that only
annoying.
Covers 3 topics per show.
Yeah. It's getting to the point where it's even more annoying than it was before. There's absolutely
3 topics per 3-hour show, that is.
Yeah, there's absolutely positively no reason to have a reporter go out to the Carrier Dome to cover the fact that Bruce Springsteen is not going to be there tonight because he canceled all shows in September. Okay. So you just wasted all the money. And the worst part about it is, I don't believe that their transmitters can run off of a battery. I believe they've got to run on a generator. But even if they can run off a battery, you still have to charge the damn battery.
Yep.
And how are you going to do that? Well, it's going to take too long to charge a battery that large with solar, so you're going to plug it in. Electricity has to be generated somehow. It doesn't happen for free.
Likely by coal or natural gas.
In the United States, I believe it's still 70% of all electricity generated here is generated by burning some form of fossil fuel.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't care how many solar plants are out there, all these solar farms that are taking up hundreds and hundreds of acres of land just to produce enough for a small village, or windmills. It doesn't matter how many of those are out there. Most electricity is still generated by burning fossil fuels. And we've talked about it before. Even these other sources that they're calling green, they're not really green. There's a negative impact for any kind of electric generation. Sorry, folks. Hate to burst your bubble, but there is. Oh, well. So
hey, what do we know?
Yeah. What do you say we go on to the next one? I think we've complained about the news often enough there, or long enough.
We have. What's next?
So over the weekend, my phone fell from my hand at a high velocity because I got annoyed, and it broke. Which, the thing that sucked about it is I started working on Monday, and I've got a sound bar so that I got music playing in the background, and it connected to the old phone because, the phone is still on. It's just the screen doesn't work.
Yep.
So it kind of annoyed me, but because the phone because the screen isn't working, I couldn't plug in and transfer stuff over. So I had to use a backup, which luckily was made earlier that day, or earlier that night. Which, by the way, folks, a little PSA, if none of you know this, Android has it set up so that your phone will back up automatically, unless you've turned it off. It'll back up automatically at 2 a.m. as long as your phone is plugged in. Mm-hmm. So, it's not perfect. It's not nearly as good as when you plug your phone in and transfer things over, but it's a hell of a lot better than having to guess at what apps you had on your phone before. And, what I found is even if it didn't sign me into the app, as soon as I signed into the app, all the data was there. So it's putting the data where the app is expecting it to be, so that as soon as you're signed in and everything, you're good to go for the most part. Yeah. There are some things like the stupid Samsung Galaxy Watch that tick me off because, you got to make a backup here. Okay, well, I can't make a backup. Well, the problem is, it was the first phone with the first watch with Wear OS. Mm-hmm. And like the new improved version of Wear OS. And everything sounded promising, as far as the features that it had and whatnot. I was like, oh, this is cool. This is great. Well, then I got the phone and find out that half the features are locked because I don't have a Samsung phone to use with it. Because Samsung wants to be Apple.
Yeah.
But, so, there's that problem. And then, they just don't play nice. So there's some apps that just don't work. And then, of course, the biggest problem is I couldn't make a backup. And when you switch phones, you want to connect it to a new phone, you have to reset the watch. Which, again, is dumb as all hell.
It is.
But, I don't know if that's a Samsung thing or if that's part of Wear OS. But at any rate, so, I lost all the setup that I had with the watch. But apparently there's an auto backup feature built into the app that's on the phone. But, it's not turned on by default, so. Anyhow. So, the whole story started because we have a grocery app that we use. And, or should I say, I had one.
Oh?
Yeah, so I went looking and, I went looking for it because I was getting ready to go shopping. And the first thing I do is I look at the app to see what we need, and then I look through the BJ's app to see, see what coupons are there. So I went to do that, and I'm like, where the hell's the app? It's not installed. So then I said, okay, well, I know what the name of it is. I looked it up on Google Play. It's not there. Oh, what the hell? So I said, well, all right, maybe, just maybe, I spelled it wrong or something. So I asked your mother to look at, and I looked at her phone, and I'm like, nope, I spelled it right. It's not there. So apparently it was either taken down by the developer or taken down by Google and left on my phone and left on your mother's phone.
That's weird.
It's stupid.
It's stupid that they didn't even tell you that they were getting rid of it.
That's it exactly. There should be some kind of notification. Like I said, I don't know if it was Google that took it down or if it was the developer. It was one of the two of them. It's not like it just disappears. It's got to be one of the two of them taking it down. And, you're not going to get any kind of information out of anybody. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, what the... So ticked off that, there was not only no notification whatsoever, but if it's taken down, then it should be taken off of my phone. Maybe that's the indication that it was taken down by the developer and not Google. I don't know. But if Google took it down because of some kind of policy violation, then why in the hell aren't they taking it down taking it off my phone? There's so much spyware out there and everything. I mean, you would think that would be hand in hand. Google knows what's installed on my phone. They should be, they can easily send a signal out and say, uninstall this. Or at least disable it. But they didn't do anything. So luckily, this app has a web-based component, so I was able to use it, use the web base on my phone. But I was so frustrated with that. I'm like, why?
As you should be.
But, and it kind of makes me wonder what would have happened if I did actually plug it in. Would it have actually transferred that app over?
Probably not.
And this is the kind of stuff. I mean, again, because it wasn't disabled or anything, and your mother can still use it. I really have a feeling it was a developer that took it down, but that's still on. It's still on Google to notify people, users of it, that hey, this isn't available. But yeah, well. So that was a quick topic.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. And of course, talking about phones, everybody's all excited because, Apple announced their latest phone. Ooh.
Of course.
Everybody's like, oh. The news is all over it. They don't care about the fact that, anybody else has announced a phone. Google is actually, they've announced the next Pixel phone. But they don't care about that. They care about Apple because, well,
The new Pixel's probably way more different from the last one than the new iPhone is different from the last one.
No, supposedly there's not a lot of difference. It's mostly just a processor upgrade, I guess. I don't know. I haven't, I don't have time anymore to watch all kinds of podcasts and keep up with Android news. I get a few things here and there. I used to watch a podcast weekly, but, well, they pissed me off because one of them's an arrogant jackass. And, now I just, because normally what I'd do is I'd have podcasts running while I was working because I was busy, but not overly busy that I couldn't take a second to rewind it to hear what they said again if I missed something and it sounded important. But now I'm learning so much with new things that are getting put on me that I can't have something else like that running. Music is fine because you don't have to pay attention to it, but a podcast or some kind of news, you kind of end up paying attention because you want to know what they're talking about. But so I don't have time for that. So I don't have all of the information like I used to. And, some of that is because I don't really care. The new features that come out on these phones are so minuscule that it's just, it's really kind of blah at this point,
Yep.
It's like, ooh, wow, the camera now has 51 megapixels instead of 50. Okay, great. That 1 megapixel is going to make a huge difference.
The notch is 2% smaller.
Yeah. We put an island around the notch. Okay. What's that supposed to do for me? Now, personally, I'd rather they just go back to the way it was where, there was a bar at the top that didn't have any screen. Mm-hmm. And that's where your camera was. I use a selfie camera so rarely. Get rid of the damn thing. Offer me a phone that doesn't have one. I don't need it.
Well, that's because most people do use it.
Well, yeah, and that's what everything is. Everything is all about most people. Most people want an automatic car. I don't, but I can't get it. Any offer that you see out there for a car is based on what's on the lot. So if they say, oh, you got $5,000, dealer cash back, that's based on taking something that's on the lot. You want a special order something, you lose that $5,000. And no dealer is, there's so few dealers out there that carry a car that has a manual transmission, it's not even worth looking anymore. And it's because everybody, and that's in quotes, folks, wants an automatic transmission. It used to be that it was a status symbol because every car had a manual transmission and an automatic cost more. So, it was a status symbol, so people would get it because, well, I've got money, I've got an automatic. And now dealers just said, well, you know what? We still charge extra for the automatic, but if we don't offer a standard, then nobody's going to buy it. And I don't know. Mm-hmm. But anyhow, so the big thing on the iPhone, the only real big thing on the iPhone is the change to a USB-C port.
Wow.
Yeah. And of course, everybody's making a huge deal out of it, and they're failing to mention that Apple is being required to do so by the EU.
Of course they are.
And, they're looking to make money. They want to make a profit. They're not going to have a different phone for every place outside of the EU. No, that's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
It's bad enough that they have to have a different modem inside for the US versus, Canada, or, it's bad enough. But to have different ports is just insane.
Yeah.
So that's what the change is for. It's because in the UK, or not the UK, the EU, which no longer includes the UK, but in the EU, starting next year, all small devices have to have USB-C charging.
Interesting.
And I am not sure if that small device includes laptops or not. But more and more manufacturers of laptops are actually moving towards having USB-C charging. It just makes sense.
That's interesting.
It just makes sense. I mean, you get some laptops like the gaming laptops and stuff like that use a lot of power. It's not so easy, but it's still feasible because USB-C is such a well-designed standard that you can push a lot of electricity through it.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the OnePlus phone that you had. That had a special charger, and it was, I told you, do not use that charger with anything else because it was pushing, I think it was pushing 100 watts through there or something like that, which,
holy crap.
That's 100 watts is almost enough to run like my laptop, which is a gaming laptop. I think my charger for it is 165 watts or something like that. But, it's 100 watts is more than...
I will admit here that I did let one of my friends use that charger, borrow it once.
Yeah, that's dangerous because there's no other phones out there that were designed to take that kind of input. Yeah. So you're lucky. Your friend is lucky their phone didn't catch on fire. But I don't know. So they're making a big deal out of it with Apple, and it's all because they're being forced to do it.
Yeah.
It's not because they wanted to. They prefer having the Lightning port because what does the Lightning port mean? Oh, we've mentioned it before. It means Apple gets
only
money.
For Apple. It's only for Apple products.
Well, it's not just that. You
Which
can
means
go.
You have to get an Apple.
No, you don't have to get an Apple brand. You can get an off-brand Lightning charger. However, Apple makes a profit off of that because they have the patent on it. USB-C is an open standard. Nobody makes a profit on it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the whole thing. I mean. Yeah, I could be a little off on that. There might be somebody who's making a little bit of a profit on it, but It's not much. It was developed by a consortium. So, that's why it's considered a standard, because people aren't making huge profits off it.
Yep.
But, all right. So let's go to our last topic.
What's this one?
So this one is about celebrities.
Uh-oh.
And I'm calling it damage control within celebrities.
Okay.
So there's a group of people, a group of three of the stars from That 70s Show, which was I believe it was in the 90s. It was a show in the 90s, and there's three of them that are still fairly close. Two of them are married, and they're close with this third one. Well, this third one was just convicted of rape.
Oh.
Not just one person. I believe it was 3 or 4 women that he raped.
Ooh. And
the other 2 came to his defense. Yeah. They were... I don't remember.
How can you defend that?
I don't know. I didn't catch all of it, but I caught enough. And then a day later, after the internet blew up with how they were stupid and everything, they were on, they were...
Are.
Well, yeah, but, they went on a, I don't remember if it was TikTok or Instagram, something like that, apologizing and saying that they don't condone that and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, this is just damage control. It literally did. Yeah, this is damage control.
You literally did condone that when you chose to defend him.
But one of the statements they said was that wasn't a statement that was supposed to get out. That was just for the court. It doesn't matter if it was just for the court or not. Once the case is closed, the court records are public record.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they might not be fully public record because, let me make it clear, I am not a lawyer. But,
Nor does he play one on TV.
Yeah. But seriously, you got to think about this stuff when you're saying things like that. And literally all I could think was, this is damage control. They're just trying to save their careers. They realize they they realize they totally screwed up, and now all they care about is making sure that people are going to go see their movies or watch their TV shows or buy whatever crap they're endorsing, so that they keep their millions of dollars rolling in. It's got nothing to do with anything else. It has absolutely nothing to do with whether or not they believe that they did something wrong. This is their manager going to them saying, "Hey, what you said there? Yeah, that wasn't a good thing. So
you should probably apologize." Yeah,
you gotta apologize and make it seem like you care. Otherwise, you're never going to get a job again.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, seriously, this is ridiculous. And the worst part is, people that are fans of these two are gonna, they're okay. They said they didn't believe it. They said they apologized. It's all right. It's not all right.
No, it's not.
You go and talk to any victim of rape and ask them how they feel about a statement like that. And I can put money on it. They're going to say, yeah, they're a couple of jackasses.
Yeah.
And it's just it's getting ridiculous with it, with the whole damage control and the PR departments that they have. I mean, these two, they've made a lot of money throughout their career, and
I'm sure they have.
They've got PR people. They've got an entire team that does PR for them.
Mm-hmm.
It's just ridiculous. I mean, if I said something like that, I'd lose my job. I'd have a hard time getting a job afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
But, they say it, and, okay, all's forgiven because they're a celebrity.
Yep. They're famous, so they get a pass.
Yeah, I've really had enough with these celebrities in this crap. You know what? They want to stand behind somebody who's been convicted of rape, because I believe their statement was after the conviction. It was not before. It was after.
Yeah, not even someone accused. Someone convicted.
Yeah. You know,
I understand defending someone who hasn't been convicted yet, but has been accused.
Yeah.
Because you don't know yet.
You know, let me make it clear. If they were there as character witnesses during the trial and made this statement, hey, okay. They're a character witness. They're not, they're just standing up for what they believe this person is. You know, they're not saying, oh no, he didn't do it. They're saying, that doesn't seem like the type of person he is.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
he doesn't seem like the type of guy to do that.
Yeah, and it may have been the intent of their statement. However, it was after the conviction, so, you can't withdraw that. That's it. I've had enough of you people.
Yep.
But
dead to me.
Yeah. So speaking of that's it, folks, I'm sure you heard that music starting up in the background.
That means good night.
We'll see ya.